It had been long rumored that a Cedar Fair Six Flags merger or acquisition would occur, but on the morning of November 2nd, 2023, that rumor became a reality. The two amusement park companies will merge into one, creating a new company with 27 amusement parks. This is easily one of the most significant events to ever occur in the amusement industry and has led to very mixed reactions from parkgoers and the public, wondering how two companies with different business and operation strategies could work together. Especially when one of those companies is known for not having the best of quality when it comes to their portfolio of parks. The one thing to know is that the merger is not final and not scheduled to be closed until mid-2024, meaning any changes would not be seen until the 2025 operating season at the earliest. What could these changes look like though? Let's take a look and see. Before that, however, I'm going to do the usual YouTuber spiel, and if you like the video, I do encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe as that helps channels grow, especially smaller channels like this one. As part of the analysis of this merger, let's first look at the press release posted by Cedar Fair the morning of November 2nd. While the press release contains a lot of corporate speak that is commonplace in mergers and acquisitions, there is some information we can pull out of there that we can use to make some predictions on how the company will operate once the merger is complete. At the top of the press release, we get an executive summary of the benefits the companies see for merging together. Obviously, the biggest being that the company will now consist of 42 parks and 9 resort properties. As you will see on line 2, combining gives the company more year-round parks, meaning they are able to increase their year-round revenue as opposed to being limited to just the park's operating seasons. Line number 3 is basically corporate speak about a more efficient park experience from joining forces, which should be pretty obvious as you would hope something's more efficient if you're combining. Although the technology platform robustness could mean an all-in-one app, which would be nice. We move on to line 4 now, which is saying the company will have more revenue and capital working together, which will result in better park upgrades and investments. Obviously, bigger companies also have better access to financing, which would help with some of these improvements. The first part of line 5 is just silly to me because it has the word synergies, which is one of the most vague corporate speak words out there. And I'm not sure where the $200 million comes from, but coming together to provide more value is the whole point of a merger, so this first part just seems redundant. The second part of line 5, however, mentions cost savings of $120 million, and with cost savings that high, my only conclusion is parks will be closed. Although this could include some other things like letting some certain IPs go, such as Peanuts, DC, or Looney Tunes if they find one of them to be repetitive. They do mention that administrative cost savings will contribute as well, which can result from the consolidation of various departments like human resources and accounting finance, or the elimination of redundant executive positions such as not needing 2 chief financial officers. However, this does mean potential layoffs, which is typical for mergers, but I do not see them slashing $120 million of payroll, so I do believe still that park closures will be a big part of this $120 million. And finally, the last line just details how current Six Flags and Cedar Fair shareholders will be compensated following the completion of the merger. Some other bullet points to pull out: it is noted that the company is expected to leverage Cedar Fair's recent park investment experience to accelerate the transformation of Six Flags parks. Only time will tell if that's the case, but this is much better than reading that Cedar Fair is leveraging Six Flags' investment strategy, as that would be very alarming. It is also worth noting that Richard Zimmerman, the current president and CEO of Cedar Fair, would be CEO of the merged company, while Salim Basoul, everyone's favorite Six Flags CEO and supervillain, would be chairman of the board, with the board containing 12 total members consisting of 6 Six Flags and 6 Cedar Fair directors. Now that the press release is out of the way, let's take a look at what Six Flags 2.0 or Cedar Fair 2.0 might look like, utilizing potential pros and cons of this merger. The first pro of the merger is going to be the increased financial strength of the companies. This is the obvious pro, as combining gives the company more cash and better access to financing to improve parks, add new attractions, and improve customer experience. The first con is also an obvious one, and that is the increased portfolio of parks. With 27 amusement parks now in the chain, this is a lot of parks to manage. If the vision and business strategy are not aligned properly, that can lead to parks being neglected. We already see this with Six Flags and Cedar Fair, and it could get worse with the increased burden. However, I do not see them continuing with managing 27 parks, which leads me to con number 2, which is a high probability of park closures or sale. The press release states that there is minimal market overlap with the merger, but someone with a basic understanding of the park locations and geography knows that they are understating this. Some parks I could see closing due to geographic location are Six Flags St. Louis with Worlds of Fun already in the state of Missouri, Dorney Park with its close proximity to Six Flags Great Adventure, and possibly a quicker closure of California's Great America. I can also see smaller parks such as Michigan's Adventure or Six Flags Great Escape closing, but the reason for that I will discuss later in this video. One interesting idea is that if California's Great America is closed quickly, this does provide an easy opportunity to relocate some major attractions to Discovery Kingdom to improve its collection. Pro number 2 is a better negotiating position with ride manufacturers and potential bulk deals. We know that some ride manufacturers offer discounts if multiple rides and roller coasters are purchased at a time. With the increased amount of parks and increased cash flow, perhaps the company can make larger bulk purchases from manufacturers, saving a lot of money. Now, to be fair, this could be a con if it meant a bunch of clones and Six Flags got their way, but more on that later. What I am alluding to is the example of perhaps buying more B&M attractions, getting a discount, and being able to afford to put a B&M in a smaller park that never would have had a chance to get a new B&M before. This could apply to other manufacturers as well, such as Intamin. Pro number 3 is that the company is leveraging Cedar Fair's park strategy. It is no secret that Cedar Fair parks, for the most part, are better managed, operated, and maintained than Six Flags parks. I have had better experiences at Valley Fair and Worlds of Fun than at Six Flags Magic Mountain, for example, despite Magic Mountain being a Six Flags flagship park and the two aforementioned Cedar Fair parks being regional parks. This strategy can finally be the way to improve various mismanaged Six Flags parks and bring them up a step. The opposite of this is con number 3, and that would be too much Six Flags influence. Despite the current CEO of Cedar Fair being the CEO of the new company and an even representation of 6 Six Flags and 6 Cedar Fair directors on the board, Salim Basul is chairman of the board. The press release does state that they share similar business values, but I do not agree and believe making Cedar Fair parks influenced by Six Flags would be a disaster for the company. Imagining parks like Kings Island, Cedar Point, or Knott's Berry Farm with roller coaster clones named after DC characters is a future I hope is not a reality, as well as the reality of Cedar Fair parks regressing to the quality level of Six Flags. On to the 4th pro now, which is season passes and the mobile app. Technology upgrades were mentioned in the press release, and the first thing I thought of was an app for all the parks, unlike Cedar Fair's approach of one app for each park, which would be great. It would obviously be more expensive, but consumers are willing to accept that for the additional parks they would get access to. While we are on the subject of price increases, con number 4 would be price increases before the increase in quality. We saw this strategy at Six Flags with Salim Basul, which was increasing prices before quality was increased. If there is no improvement in the Six Flags parks and other parks, and the new company charges Cedar Fair level amounts for tickets and passes, it could lead to underwhelming revenue and sales amounts. People are much more willing to spend money when they see it is going to new attractions and a better park experience. Pro number 5 is my wild card, and that is the probability of ground-up parks increasing. While I do not think this is for certain, the chances of getting new parks in markets without one increases slightly with the better access to cash and capital. This could also be a con, however, as I do see them potentially selling off smaller parks to make this a reality if they needed to. And finally, the con that is found with any merger or acquisition, which is decreased competition. To be fair, there still is a lot of other competitors out there, but consolidating 2 major competitors together could hurt the consumers in the long run if this company is not motivated to innovate. So that wraps it up. Obviously, it is very early on and we still have a lot to learn about the future of Six Flags and Cedar Fair, if that even becomes a reality. What do you think will happen? Do you think the merger will work? Let me know in the comments below. Hopefully the change is for the better, and in time we will figure that out. But for now, all we can hope for is that they do the right thing and that this merger makes these parks better in the long run. Thank you for watching this video, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.